The Tower Above Nations. 1. The Stateless Tower. There is a tower of steel and glass standing silently in Basel, Switzerland. No flag, no emblem, no sign, just a massive block of metal, staring like an eye that never blinks. Locals call it the tower, but those who know call it something else. The Tower Above Nations. Inside this tower, every 2 months, the governors of more than 60 central banks quietly walk in. No reporters, no cameras, no transcripts, no public schedule. They enter and vanish behind electronic doors. Decisions are made through spoken words. No paperwork, no traces. And the world outside keeps moving, as if nothing ever happened. 2. Origins. The Invisible Empire. After World War I, Europe was shattered. Germany was forced to pay massive war reparations. The mark collapsed. Inflation exploded. People burned money to stay warm. In that chaos, in 1929, a group of central bankers from the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Belgium, together with American financiers like J.P. Morgan and Rockefeller, met secretly in The Hague. They didn't just want financial stability, they wanted financial control. To achieve that, they needed an institution belonging to no nation, answering to no democracy, and independent enough to rise above all governments. In 1930, the BiS was born, publicly, to help Germany repay its debts. In reality, to build a stateless financial empire that only the elite understood. 3. Power. A nation without a flag. The BiS is unlike any bank. It doesn't lend to individuals, has no branches, needs no profit. It serves only central banks, institutions that already stand above most governments. But what makes the BiS truly extraordinary is its absolute immunity. Under the 1936 treaty with Switzerland, no taxation, no prosecution, no audits, no obligation to disclose records. Swiss police cannot enter the building without BiS permission. Inside that tower, every asset, every file, every server is protected by untouchable diplomatic status. In other words, the BiS is an invisible nation with no citizens, ruling nations that have millions. 4. Founders. In the shadows. The first board of the BiS had 15 members, not politicians, not representatives of the people, just shadowy figures of global finance. Montague Norman, governor of the Bank of England. Hjalmar Schacht, president of the Reichsbank of Germany, and others whose names the public never knew. Even as the UK and Germany moved toward war, these two men still met, still cooperated, still believed money mattered more than nations. They believed money should be controlled by elites, not by politics. During World War II, the BiS continued operating, doing business with both Axis and Allied powers, as if the bombs outside were nothing but noise. 5. Rebirth. After the war. In 1945, many nations demanded the BiS be dissolved, suspecting its financial ties to Nazi Germany. But the US and the UK blocked it. They knew the BiS was the perfect tool to manage the world, without parliaments, without elections, without public consent. When the IMF and World Bank were created, the BiS didn't disappear. It grew stronger. From a bank for debt settlements, it became the neural center of the entire global central banking system and began shaping the rules of world finance. 6. The rules, the Basel Accords. Since the 1980s, the BiS has issued the Basel Accords, Basel I, Basel II, Basel III, and soon, Basel IV. They sound technical. Capital ratios, liquidity risk, accounting standards. But these rules can collapse entire economies. Basel II forced banks to raise reserves. Hundreds of smaller banks in Europe and Asia went bankrupt. No one ordered them, yet they had no choice. Refusal meant being cut off from the global payment network. a death sentence in modern finance. That is BiS power, no commands, yet the whole world obeys. 7. Soft control, harder than any law. The BiS doesn't pass laws, but national laws must be rewritten to align with BiS standards. No elections choose their leaders. No one can remove them. No one knows what they discuss, yet they can push global interest rates higher, move currencies, indirectly shape inflation, and set standards all banks must follow. They operate behind the stage, adjusting the variables of the global economy, while the public sees only the outcome, never the cause. 8. Power in the dark. Outside the BiS tower, Basel remains calm. No protests, no chaos, no sign of what happens inside. But when the world hears the usual headlines, interest rates rising, banks collapsing, currencies losing value, people believe it's the market, the cycle, the natural order of economics. But sometimes, the greatest shifts don't come from the market, but from rooms without cameras, meetings without minutes, and people no one ever voted for. There are hands shaping your reality, hands you will never see, not because they hide, but because they stand above nations. If you want to understand this network, how it works, and the invisible powers shaping humanity's future, subscribe and prepare for episode 2. This game of power is only beginning.